principal in my job criticize teachers as being the people that are supposed to fix everything for you guys? Because the reality is, how you come from home has a big part of what you do here. If mom and dad didn't come home last night, and you're worried about that, and your mind's somewhere else. If you didn't have enough food at home to have breakfast in the morning before you started, that's a real life situation for a lot of folks. I understand that. I don't blame the teachers for those situations. My two adopted children, I don't talk about this often, but we're pretty upfront about it, both have ADD and bipolar mental illness issues. My 14-year-old daughter had to spend a year in a mental hospital in Maryland. It's tough. Twice a week, her mom and I, independently, sometimes together, would have to drive the 3 hours to the hospital to see her. I'm so proud of her. While she still has huge issues, and she takes 6 drugs a day to try and keep her stable. Last month, she was Student of the Month at that Blue Ribbon School. And this month, she made the Dean's List. So even with all her challenges, even with all of the things that hold her back, she's been able to lift herself up, and we're real proud of her.
We're all interested in these questions. Jasmine?
Why can't we have a school that stays open until like 9 p.m.? This way we have a safe place to hang out.
That's a great question. And I want to tell you 2 stories. Frankly, there's just not a lot of money, but that's the reason. But there's a young man in Stockton who came to me. I do a lot of work with foster kids. And there was a young man that came to see me. He had 3 brothers and himself. And he was going to a school in Merced, and he never wanted to go home. Because home, the young man was actually from Stockton, but he was temporarily working, living in a foster home in Merced. And he didn't like that foster home very much. And he told me his story. He went back to Washington on a trip much like what you went back on. And so I got to meet him. I spent the day with him, and then I went to his school graduation later, and there was 4 of them that had gone back, so they all graduated together, and I was the guest speaker at their graduation ceremony. And I will tell you that I wanted to adopt this young man, but we already had 2. Actually, we had already had 3. And I wasn't the right fit for him. But what had happened was his parents were making methamphetamine in their house. And one day, one of his friends came over and saw the garage that they were never supposed to go into. And the friend told his parents, and the police came and arrested his father. And his mother, this is a very sad story, but his mother took and told him to stand by a payphone, and she would come back and get him. And that he was supposed to watch his 3 brothers. He was 13 years old at the time. And the mom never came back to pick up the brothers and him. And so 2.5 days later, he led his brothers and him to the police station down the street. And they had gotten separated, but he was doing well now, and he was going to go on and graduate. And he told me about the after-school problem. And so your question is very appropriate. It's a matter of resources and money, but listening to this, the school board and the superintendent will try and do their best with what they've got. I'm sure they'll work on it. Because safe havens in tough neighborhoods are really important. Thank you for your question.